Welcome to Hardknott Fort, ladies and gentlemen. Mostly being so well preserved because we are in the middle of nowhere. We are up in the Lake District, one of the wettest places in England. Touch wood, right now we are okay and we have no rain. But man, it was a journey to get here. You go through the Hardknott Pass, and as you come over the hill, the crest, you see this massive fort. Now, if you've followed the channel so far, you know that the Romans came to Britain, or Britannia as they called it, in 43 AD. Emperor Claudius led a full-scale invasion of this country. And then as time progressed, they pushed up and up into Scotland. Look at this, cuz. And for a very short period of time, most of the UK called Rome their emperor. And it wasn't until some crazy resistance came from the Scottish Highlands that they pulled back. And during this time, around 120 AD, the emperor was Hadrian. And he was more focused on preservation and setting up and protecting what they already had conquered. So they retreated a bit from Scotland. They set up a wall called Hadrian's Wall, who would have guessed, which we will see in the next video. It's actually the longest Roman wall in the world. And they had some key supply routes coming from the ocean, from Ravenglass, and from the ocean they would come straight through this mountain, which is the Hardknott Pass. We all know Roman roads are very straight and direct. Rather than going around the coast, they just cut straight through the mountains. So around 120 AD, Emperor Hadrian ordered the construction of Hardknott Fort, being in the middle of nowhere, but basically guarding their supply route to feed their soldiers on the northern frontier, because that was Hadrian's Wall, is the most northern point that the Roman Empire ever stretched. So we're going to try and do a little bit of stealth camping here, and let's explore this fort together. There's some cool things we can find, a few rooms I want to try and find and point out. So we'll learn about it, and I'll tell you more about this fort and the history of it. The most isolated fort in Britain. The drone is so awesome for an overview, right? Like, you can see a lot of Roman forts were rectangular. This one, it looks pretty cool from the air, doesn't it?
Well, you can see like the whole foundations. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's very square too, compared to most that were, like I said, rectangular. A lot of these forts, and you'll see more, most likely if we can find some along Hadrian's Wall, just north of here, they were built to have like 500 to 1,000 men. Supposedly Hardknott Fort was built for 500 men. That's quite a few. There's a few things going on this fort, like they terraformed a lot of it, which is pretty damn impressive considering how crazy this landscape is. We'll go for a wander up there later and we can find the parading ground. We owe its preservation to the fact that it's the most secluded fort there is. With a lot of other forts around this country and across the world, when different kingdoms came into power, especially once the Romans left here, they left around 400-ish AD, I believe. New kingdoms would just reuse the stone because they have all the stone lying here, so kings would just order the deconstruction of it to use it in their own castle or their own defenses, you know. But purely the fact that this is in the middle of nowhere, no one ever really bothered pulling it down. What a crazy view.
This is a very good spot.
It is absolutely beautiful. It might not look it for you guys in the videos, especially with the drone shots. It probably looks quite flat, but it is decently up and down.
There's probably this top corner. I would say it's probably
it's at least like
15 meters elevation.
Yeah, from down
the
there.
Left to the bottom right.
100%.
But and then the bathhouse is even lower.
Yeah. You know why the bathhouses were kept so far away?
Because they smell bad?
Close. They had a because they had a fire in there to warm everything up and have a sauna. If anything caught on fire, they didn't want it near the main barracks.
Very good idea.
Yeah, they obviously learnt that through trial and error. The whole bloody fort's on fire, boys. The bathhouses are over there. We'll show you in a little bit. There's a bit of debate with this fort. Some people say that it was here to control local populations and obviously get tax from them, but there wouldn't have really been many people here. So some people say it was for fighting and setting up a stronghold and showing how, you know, big and tough the Romans were, to kind of deter the local tribes from trying to take over. But other sources say there was really nothing here. There was just small local farming villages and stuff like that. So supposedly another key thing with forts like this all across the Roman Empire everywhere, this is the most northern part that the empire ever expanded to, they would never employ local people from the local area, because that would give them possibly like a benefit to look after the local population more, or to give them grain, or, you know, not tax them as much. So a lot of the soldiers here were from like the Balkans and places like Croatia. So imagine coming from there to here, the wettest place in England, and this was only in occupation for about 30 years, 25 to 30 years, from like 120 AD to the late 140s, 150-ish. So some people spent their whole military life here, which is pretty crazy, man. There's a lot of debate about whether or not the Romans pulled back because of the Scottish resistance. It's kind of just up to you and what you want to believe, because they also had so much going on in all other corners of their empire that they had to pull legions, some of their best legions, had to pull back to protect Rome. So it's not like they had their best troops here. If they did, I would say they definitely could have taken over Scotland. But also, that is not to dethrone the Scottish warriors, or, for those of you who are going to correct me in the comments, the Caledonians, I believe they're called. I'm just going to say the Scottish, because then younger people understand what I'm talking about and where they were. This is definitely the parade ground. Look how flat this is. And yeah, the emperor before, Hadrian, he's the one that pushed all the way up north. And then that's when Hadrian came into power, and the sort of different mindset is what led to forts and the Hadrian's Wall getting built. Because one emperor just wanted to keep pushing. The next, Hadrian, wanted to try and maintain parade ground. The Romans, I think, got paid 4 times a year, and when they got paid, it was a big ceremony. So the guy who was in charge of Hardknott Fort and the basically the finance house, he'd be up here basically on the rock. So if you didn't get the memo, it's the bathhouse.
And that was a sauna.
So progressively they just would have worked their way through each room.
Yeah, probably would have just had, this is where they would have been heated probably.
Yeah.
And then this would have been the deepest one at the bottom, and the rest they would have just had the water. People
who leave rubbish.
If you're gonna leave it, it's actually worse to put it in a plastic bag, because now
Yeah.
it's decompose.
Yeah, if you're gonna leave dog crap, like just
get it and fling it into the bush.
Yeah.
Gonna go and walk across.
Don't put it in a plastic bag and leave the plastic bag there. Look at that. That's the sauna, yeah? Yeah, it definitely would be the sauna. That's cool as. And it's not a bad spot to camp. And we can pick up ancient diseases from the soaked into the grass from the Romans. Ancient trench foot. You can see the pass. There's a big tractor going up. This is the sauna. I love a sauna. Absolutely love using a sauna. This is a little bit of a hike, not too far, but a decent little hike from where they would have been positioned. So imagine on a cold winter's night, you come out of here, super warm, and then you got to do the freezing walk back to your rooms. Does it snow here?
Probably not tonight.
No, but does it snow in Lake District?
I guess so.
Because it does snow in a few places around England, but
It snows everywhere in England.
it does it. Snows everywhere in England. Oh, there we go. I didn't know that.
Not all the time.
Yeah.
Is the sauna still hot?
The sauna's actually warm. No joke. The sun came out though, so... But there's no wind here, so there's less chill factor. How cool, huh? Very cool indeed. What a view. What a view. Looks like a painting, right? A reminder for you guys, all these videos of mine are in 4K. So if you have the luxury of watching it on a TV, press the little settings cog. It's shaped like a motorbike cog. Press that, click on quality, and you can go higher picture quality. Because sometimes YouTube bumps it down to very, very bad quality, but this is all crisp. Should be crystal clear for you.